Okay, that gets us with our frame constructed and our suspension as far as our springs and that go and our A-arms. So we've got this part built, and once we get these components here, which is basically just this belt assembly here and the transfer case, it looks like some sort, and these drive shafts connected, we fit those in. And then it's just this control arm here. We've got the cross brace for the frame and the exhaust, and our two-part gas thing that does here. So that will get us into the door. So yeah, we've been able to push that far to here. And we have our frame with our wheels. Now, we did print some, and I printed two sizes. I printed one at 20 and one at 25. I measured these. They seem to come in on my, with my micrometer at about 25 millimeters, and I set the larger of these two at 25, but they're just a little bit small still, so I think I can even go to 30. And see, now these are more of a road wheel, but there is more definition there in between this one and the kit one. I don't have my side light on after I took a break. Here, let me turn my side light on and it'll make a big difference. Okay, here we go. Let's get some more light on here. You can see a difference now. There. Okay, so yeah, you can see these are more of a road tire for sure. But there is a kind of a good looking tread in there. So I would have to jerry rig some sort of socket for the pin to fit in, for it to fit to the axle. But I don't know, I think if I enlarge these by up to 30, they don't take up much resin. So I think I'll print another set, just that much larger, so they're the same size. And we'll see what we like, because these aren't glued on. These can pop off easy enough, and I just have to accommodate for the pin here so that they sit on. And we can kind of choose which ones we want, or maybe we'll make a set of both so we can go road or off-road. But yeah, it's kind of a soft tread on these. There's not really much I can do to make them deeper. So we'll take them off, we'll give them a sand, we'll prep them up and paint them, and we'll do the same with these. And we'll figure out what we want. So yeah, we've got everything together down here, at least to this point anyways. We can set that aside, and we've got our dash going with our steering wheel now. And I think when we come back with the miracle of editing, I will get these seats, get this interior put together, get this plunked in now that we've got our sides on and they're set up. And we will get the rest of the small bits and bobs that go on our hood. And we will get all these sorted out, our latches and our light assemblies here. We'll get all that sorted, and we'll come back with the basic structure of our Hummer together. That will put us to the end of part 7, which will put us into this, which is basically, yeah, slamming that together. So we'll come back, we'll do this part kind of together, and then we'll move into 9, which is the interior of the I guess that inside workings of the mechanism for the gun turret and the radio, and all that stuff goes together. So yeah, so we'll be back for that then. And now we're back for that then. So yeah, we've got pushed ahead pretty good. We're got our body pretty well set. We want to just dry fit. There's a lot of dry fitting with this kit, and I'll kind of show you some of the spots where you may want to take extra kind of care. Primarily this windshield spot, and there isn't much of a locating fin here to get this dashboard into place, and I struggled with exactly where it kind of fit in. I think that was mostly me being obstinate. But there were 2 pins here on the ends on either end of this windshield part that I think were maybe designed to sit inside here somewhere, but they really interfered with the post here coming into line with the frame, or the body, I guess I should say, this front firewall part of the body. So I ended up clipping them right off so that I could get this to sit right where it needed to be. And then the next little trick was getting these positioned in just nicely so that the hood sits on and these don't interfere with it lining up with either side of this front part of the fender area here underneath the hood. There was a little bit of struggle getting this back section kind of in here. Oop, there we go. I'm going to leave this separate to paint. I want to be able to get this detail. Oh, sorry. I want to be able to get this detail painted in here. I think it'll be a lot easier if I can hold the piece like this and just do these dials, touch those in as I do the interior, and then once I've done the interior, I'll get this tacked into space, and then we can mask in our windows from the inside, and we could start to paint the exterior. We haven't quite decided yet whether we're going to go with the desert tan or we're going to go with the NATO camo, but we'll get there soon. We're pretty well close to being able to get into primer. What else was there? Seats go in really easy. Doors, you just sort of fit them around, a little bit of sanding and stuff, no big deal. I did touch my finger here, so I'm going to kind of sand that out a little bit. I did get a little bit of a glue fingerprint. This back corner, I kind of had to do some sanding and some milling to get these corners to actually fit tight. So they're a mitered corner. You can see that they're shaved off at the 45 to make up the corner. And you really want to kind of sort of make sure you don't have anything creating a gap here. So I just wanted to make sure I got it nice and tight on each outside corner. And I think we got there pretty good. Left us a little gap here. I put some gap filler in. I'll add a little bit more. You're not going to see it because it will be closed in with the top. But now we have our top will sit on nicely, and it lines up with our windshield. So we're pretty good now with the body is coming together. You can kind of see the general shape that we got. So here's the pieces that will fit for the back part, all ready to go. They're just going to sit in just like that. I do believe, let's see, line up better here on the ceiling. So that's going to line up in there like that, like so, and that makes a nice fit there. So we got those. That's where our jerry cans are going to go. We'll put those on last because they'll be painted green, but they won't be painted in the camouflage because they'll be separate. And then we have our side panels, which are going to fit right in like such, just like that. And then that's going to complete the back part of our body. So we've got that ready to glue together. That can all be glued into place. We have our front grille, which is going to get glued into place. That goes right in here. We have our bumper, which is going to go on to the front of our frame. Now we printed some wheels. I printed a couple different sizes. One was too big and the other one was too small. These ones turned out not too bad. They're pretty close. Like, they're maybe a little bit smaller, and I may print another set. These are printed at 25 mil. This comes in around 26. So I think I might maybe just print another set of these. They don't take a lot of resin. Another set of these at 20, maybe 26 mil, 26.5 mil kind of, and just sort of get a little bit bigger. But these are working pretty good. Now what I did was I just glued, I snipped up a Q-tip, and I just took the shaft of the Q-tip, which is actually a plastic tube, and I crazy glued, or just, glued them. I just insta glue, right? Them into the centers of these to allow me to get it to sit on the pin. And then what I did was I kind of positioned them so I'll be able to get turning wheels. So I think I got this. There we go. So I can kind of set these if I want in the turning, and I don't think they look too bad. I'm going to prime them up. We'll get a coat of paint on them. But there's some pretty nice detail on them, and the treads look pretty good. The inside of that tread got a little mangled, so we'll see. I'm going to print up the other ones, and it's easy enough for me to glue these little hubs on, sort of, whatever. to hold them on the axles. But yeah, other than that, whoop, I think they're gonna work fairly well. And I'm just working on ways. I think I could probably even build up some glue inside of these shafts, let it dry, mill it out so I can get a tighter fit, and I can have it so I can actually put on either sets of wheels, because these ones look pretty good too. And well, just to compare, so they look pretty good. You know, they're both excellent. I'm gonna kind of do this more of an urban vehicle, I think, but I don't know, we'll see. I'm playing around with the idea, so we'll get there. We're gonna paint up all the wheels anyways, and we'll do them all up. I did like maybe the idea of putting one on the back, so what I did was I did the same thing with the shaft of the Q-tip, and what I did was I just drilled a hole, and then I sort of countersank that hole to a little piece of plastic card. I just cut a little piece of plastic card here out that I got, and just to make a little mounting bracket, and I'll paint that in, and I think this will actually work pretty well back here and give me like a bracket to mount the back tire onto the back of the vehicle. I think that'll work kind of cool. So add a little bit of extra detail. I don't know if we're going to put any stowage on this. I do have some stowage, so we'll take a look and see if something works like it's going to work. And we'll also take a look at some figures that we have, some otter figures, and see if we want to put a couple figures around. But there is our fuel tank is in, 2-part clamshell piece. That's easy. Just, you know, fits in the underneath part, and then that just sits around this stuff when you pop these pins into the frame. And yeah, so I guess we're just gonna glue on. Here's the latch for the hood. We have these pieces here, the latch and the light. So we will add those onto this side. They go right there, the latch goes there, and the lights go right there, lights and reflector, whatever. And then on the back here, we've got these 2 antennas. We have these 2 hooks that clip onto the frame back here, or this is at the back here. Or sorry, back here, right here, and there. And then we have these, which put together our hitch for the back, right in the center, our tow hitch. And I think that gets us right into here. There's our mirrors ready to put on. The other antenna. I don't think I'll put the antenna on, but I will put the mirrors on. And here is our back setup for our interior equipment. And so I guess what we have is this is going to key right in here where this cutaway is, I guess, for the arms, you know, for the guys in the back. And then we have a couple different displays. We have this part here, which is going to be the turret for the gun itself. And then we have this guy here, which sits right here in this thing. And there's the little back for it. That goes on the back side. And then this one here is going to sit right in this little keyway right there. And it's sort of, I think I can get it in there. Yeah, there we go. It just sort of sits right in there. Oop. I'll just move it around with my tweezers. It sits right in there, like that, generally. All right. So we have a control system, I guess, for a guy to sit here. Which I'm assuming is the targeting of the Bushmaster. I'm going to assume. And this here looks like it's radio and gun sight as well. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll check out the webpage and just take a look and see if it actually goes into that and describes to us what this thing does. But basically, that gets our inside. So we have our four pillars that are going to go up to support the top part of the turret. And then we'll be through the top of the roof and onto the outside. And really all we have left is what's on this sprue here, which is all the parts for the Bushmaster itself. So we've got our scopes and our sights, other than the jerry cans. And then we have our sides here for the frame to hold the gun itself, and the gun and the mount and the rounds. So yeah, and the lid. for the, I'm assuming for the ammo case. And I think that basically gets us through all of our assembly for this kit. Really cool. Some different stuff I remember from the one I built first, but pretty well the same. I'm watching the Busy Builder put one together too right now. He's doing the ambulance, and he's also doing well, he's doing a couple of them right now. And if you want to hop over to his channel and watch what he does, his go together a lot faster than mine, but he's built quite a few of these. These are fun. I've got another Academy one ordered, and I'm looking around at the different sort of expansion sets you can get and stuff, because I am enjoying these Humvees, and they are a really cool vehicle. So why don't I kind of sort of glue these last little bits on? It's not really all that crazy to watch. I'll get these glued on into place, and then when we come back, we'll be ready to get these into primer. I think we'll prime up this, we'll prime up the wheels, and we'll prime up the interior. We're going to leave this loose so that we can work on it and paint all the details along with the dashboard before we go together. But we'll be able to start working on the paint in the interior. So, with the magic of editing, in a flash, I'll be back with a Humvee. All right. There we go. We have all of our little doodads glued on. We've got our lights on our hood and our latches. Got our breather. We've got front grille installed. We have a good fit going around with everything. We've got our primer ready to go with the interior color. So we've got our dash in place and our steering wheel, and we've got our seats glued in, and we're ready to start bringing in some highlights. So we've got our frame also sprayed up, we've got our wheels all sprayed up. I have another set in the printer right now, a little larger, 26.5 millimeters. So we'll see how those look, and then we'll prime those up as well and get the wheels done. So right now, basically, it's the decision of what color scheme we're going to go with on the outside. Now, thankfully, we're not slowed down at all, because we're going to bring up some highlights first. Usually would use either a deck tan or a buff, and we'll start with a buff and get some highlights going before we introduce the interior color, which is calling for XF21, which is sky, which is this really pale, sort of, I guess, a pale greenish, sort of grayish green kind of color, cockpit sort of color. And that's what's getting the inside. I think the seats and the cushions get this as well. They get the buff, I'm pretty sure is what it calls for the seat cushions. Now for the outside, we have like the NATO green camo scheme, like you see here. We have a couple different shades, whether it's weathered a lot or not. So we have those, the dark colors. We have the desert schemes, which are, it's calling for a camo scheme here in the instructions in the desert. I couldn't find any real examples of that, real world examples of that color type scheme, but I think the colors might look good together. And then there's a couple what ifs. I like the painting of this one here with the dark brown with the black and stuff. Looks pretty cool, this one image here. So we have a few choices to choose from, and I just kind of thought I'd pull out the colors to see, what sort of, we really like. So we've got, for the NATO camo color here, you can see it calls out for XF58 being the base color, and that's this here, which is the olive green. And then in the paint call out here on this back page, so we can see that the NATO Army NATO scheme is the XF1, which is flat black with the olive green, the XF, and then XF64, that's red brown. That's this here. So that gives us that color combination right here for our NATO colors. Now we have a couple blacks we could choose from. I'm almost out of flat black, so I can knock it in with a bit of the rubber or a bit of the NATO, which is more of a faded, like a grayish black. So we could play with that, with the dark tones and the blacks. Now the desert, the Marine, US Marine Desert scheme is calling for XF1, the flat black, but also with an XF57, 59, and 52. Well, with that, the 57, that gives us our buff. We'll already be into the buff to bring out highlights, so I can just stay in that and do the frame in the buff, and tying the black in here because the black stays the same. It calls for XF52, which is flat earth for the camo, and XF59, which is desert yellow, which I really kind of like this combo here. And I think that with the interior, I think is what we're going to go with. So this is our exterior camouflage color. This will be our interior, and we do have some other browns. We have some yellow in the color, some gloss black. We have some metallic gray that's got to go in underneath on some components, and we'll bring in our own like sort of flavor here and there. But basically, that is looking like that is going to be our color scheme. So we'll get started with the buff and the sky. Get our interior. Might as well get the frame painted. We'll get the wheels painted with the buff. Get them started, and we'll get our interior painted in the sky, and that'll set us up to get our vehicle closed up and get on to the exterior colors, which will be all in here. The only things we really got to pop on are our mirrors here, and we're going to do the final assembly for the turret once we get these screens painted in and stuff, and the final assembly for our gun, which is all right here, and we've got our jerry cans ready to go. We'll give them a little cleanup, get the handles glued on, and we'll get some paint going on those too. So I think that pretty well gets us really good for part one. Assembly's basically done except for the Bushmaster, so we'll start off part two with basically just kind of getting that together, and then we'll be right into the paint and the weathering and fitting our wheels, which wheels we want to go with. I don't know how far we'll go with the base with this one. We'll have to kind of play that as we go along, but I guess that gets us to part one in assembly of the Hummer with the Bushmaster M242 Bushmaster gun. I had no idea. I bought this kit a few years ago. I got it, like I said, I think I paid about $15 for this kit in a bulk buy of multiple kits. I think it has. Does this have a $15 price tag on it? I think I might have paid maybe $15-20 for this kit when I bought it. And I was looking on eBay just recently, and I've seen prices of $200+ for this kit. And so I had no idea. I just tore it open. I was like, yeah, I'll get right into this one. This is pretty good. I'm gonna have to look back at my notes because I did jot down what I picked up kits for way back. I'm pretty sure I think I paid about maybe $20, maybe $25 for this kit. I was shocked when I saw what this kit goes for. I don't know like how regularly they would sell for that kind of price, but I mean that's an awful lot of money. But it is a really nice kit. So if you can find this kit, you know, for reasonable, you know, the $40 range, I think even would probably be good at this point. Yeah, definitely grab it up because, wow, it's not getting any cheaper. Anyways, I'm the model student. That's it for part one of our Hummer with the M242 Bushmaster. And please join us for part two, where we'll get into the paint and the weathering. And until then, live, love, laugh, have fun. Keep building, keep planning, keep having fun. And we'll see you next time. So from me to you, cheers, bye.